benches for the full-time whistle, and it's over! And Donegal has won the All-Ireland final! They win by 4 points! Joyce McMullen. Is this to be it for Donegal? It would be a victory that would put a great...
The 20th of September 1992, the day the whole of Donegal had waited for. 100 years in the making, and finally the Holy Grail had been reached.
It's a moment that a lot of people would love to have, and it's a moment that will never leave me, and you know, to captain your county to All-Ireland success for the very first time, a massive sense of pride.
Donegal poised.
Malloy's famous words, you know, take it to the hills, you know. There was a question, was it the hills of Ardara, the hills of Limagaira, or what hills exactly was he talking about? But to be a part of that, and to be a part of that squad, and to be a part of that time was absolutely brilliant, you know.
25 years on, we celebrate that story.
You look back years after it, you think of the achievement it was, you know. But when you're young on that, you think it's going to happen a lot. So it probably did go over my head for a lot of years until recently, you know. After you stop playing on that, you start thinking back on it, you know. We were lucky to win it, and then you say, well, we could have won more. And that's the big question. Would always be asked, maybe through the panel and that. We could have did this, we could have did that. We definitely should have won a National League. There's questions you'll ask after you finish as well, but we're delighted to have the one medal at this stage anyway.
It was about doing a job. I mean, after the Meath game in '90, we were second because we knew that there was a period of that game where we were totally dominant 10-15 minutes into the second half, and we had an opportunity to probably get to the final in '90.
Well, listen, Declan, one of the iconic moments remains you knocking that glass point over and turning around with the fist up. I mean, just can you recall what was going through your head at that stage, despite the fact that it was 25 years ago?
There's going to be some party after this. That was it. No, listen, we knew 3 points in it 2 or 3 minutes ago. That was going to be the insurance point, and that was it. But no, it's great because, you know, growing up, that's every young lad's dream is to win an All-Ireland, but we were never anywhere close to it. And we came probably in 1990. We won Ulster. I think Tony's first year playing, we won Ulster, but we hadn't any real belief going in to play Meath. We went to Croke Park. I think we were happy enough with our lot, won in Ulster, but I think that all changed. 91 was disappointing, losing the Ulster final to Down, and 92, you know, we took it to that extra step and getting over Mayo in that semi-final. And even though we were big underdogs going into the final, we felt within the camp that yeah, we were going to win it. You know.
Not had the easiest times this afternoon. James McHugh now. Making it look so
we really came from not having a hope of. I mean, the only thing you done was won Ulster Championship, and you know that was it. You just got beat then. But I mean, we went from being to 4 years in a row that you had the 4 Ulster champions. So it was a great time to be playing.
And we knew ourselves within our heart and soul, like we trained like we never trained before anyway, as well that year, and we knew that we could beat Dublin, you know. But it was only us, like, because the rest of the country didn't give us much of a chance, really, you know. Like, we played Dublin that year anyway in the National League quarter-final, like, and we were beating Dublin that day by 5 points, you know. But Mr. Murphy comes in, like, and sticks in 2 goals in the last minute or two. But that was the exact same team that we happened to meet in September. There were no changes much in that Dublin team.
This match because Dublin are prone to lose concentration from time to time. But here's
we were in fantastic shape, you know. The training we did coming to the All-Ireland final, it was just long runs around McCool Park, the big field in McCool Park, you know, and maybe there were some double runs and some single runs, but the running was very competitive.
One of the advantages we had was that the 4 weeks between the Mayo game and the Dublin game, everybody was available to train. We had very little, bar maybe Barry McGowan and Shovlin, who were naturally high levels of fitness anyway. Everybody was in fairly good shape, and training was hard, and there was, I suppose, the likes of me who had got a taste against Mayo. I was pushing hard, JJ was pushing hard, Tommy was disappointed after his performance against Mayo, he was pushing hard, Joyce was pushing hard, and you had all these lads pushing. And when you're in a squad of 25, 26 players and you have 5 or 6 lads pushing training on for their own end and raising the standard, it does help. And there was moments during those 4 weeks where it was touchy, there was an odd, you know, fair bit of banter, there was an odd clip throwing and all that there, but it all added to it because it probably bonded us that wee bit more.
McKinniff would have gone through each individual player and his strength and weaknesses, and I mean we would have stuck to that as best we possibly could. Each and every one of us would have had our roles well defined before we went out, and we did stick to it pretty well, you know.
When you're down the far side of the pitch and the game's happening up the other side, it can be, you know, it can seem like ages before the ball comes back down, but sort of we knew ourselves that every time it got back down, you know, we had to do something. We had to won a free or do something like that. But I always remember Brian saying at the time, and the old canal end, there used to be the old clock up there, and the game normally ends between 10 to 5 and 5 to 5. You know, so you would glance up at that. There was no digital clock back then, so you were all the time glancing up at that. You know, and it just seemed them last 3-4 minutes just seemed to be an eternity. You know, and as I say, the one play that I remember near the end, and I've often said it to him, was the play just directly before he kicked his forward point, when he skied one up in the air, when he should have shifted it back to me, and it would have been me that would have kicked the last score in the Ireland final. But of course then he went for glory.
I was thinking about the bigger picture, Charlie. But no, exactly. We knew, and as I said, once it hit 10 to 5, it was going to be. We knew it was going to be just a couple of minutes left.
But first of all, we had a lot of fun. You know, but it's more serious than that there now. It's more professional. But I still think that the GAA was founded way back like as a pastime, you know. But it has definitely gone past that now, and it's a totally professional setup now. And but we had a great bunch of fellas. We were a great panel of people, and they all had their own characters. And you know, we also, you know, even on the bus them days, like everybody knew where they were going to sit, like, and there were a certain amount of boys were down the back, and there were a certain amount of boys up the front, and what have you, like, and we had a few boys thought they could sing and maybe tell a few jokes and all that there, but we have, and like, they haven't lost their personality, this bunch of lads, you know, because as I said, we have had a couple of great trips this year now, like celebrating 25 years ago, and thus the final day was a great day. The All-Ireland final weekend was fantastic again, like we really enjoyed that, like, and we've been to London recently as well, like, as a group, and that's probably something we don't do, this bunch of players, like we don't meet up often enough, and I think we're going to try and do something about that.
That was the first time that Donegal won Sam Maguire, and it paved the path for future generations in the county and the province to believe that they too belonged on the biggest stage of all. The victorious 1992 team gave us some
I'd like to invite the team captain from 1992, the man that said we were taking Sam to the hills to lead his team, and with him the team: Gary Walsh, Barry McGowan, Matt Gallagher, Noel Hegarty, Donald Reid, Martin Gavigan, John Joe Doherty, Brian Murray, James McHugh, Martin McHugh, Josh McMullen, Declan Bonner, Tony Boyd, Manus Boyd, Paul Callahan, Barry Cunningham, Martin Shovlin, John Cunningham, Tommy Ryan, Charlie Mulgrew, Michael Gallagher, Sylvester Maguire and Paul Carr, all with us here tonight. Unable to join us tonight, but very much in our thoughts, Jim McGuinness and Mark Crossan, and also of course with them, team manager Brian McAnuff, and members of his backroom team, Michael Lafferty, Anthony Hartland, Noel McCroll, and we have an apology from Dr. Austin O'Kennedy, who unfortunately couldn't join us tonight. And I'd also like to mention the late great Seamus Bonner, who was part of the backroom team in 1992, sadly missed by us all. So your appreciation for the great team of 1992.
It's life-changing in many ways for us all as a group of people, like, and of course more so for me, like, when I was the captain, and you know, from being probably relatively unknown to be known all over, like, and it's. But I take that as a pinch of salt. Like, I'll always be playing me, like, and hopefully that's the way it'll remain.
Couldn't you look on board at him? I couldn't stand the wire. I'd lock off them. Watch it in the air.
Yeah, I carry the captaincy with very little pressure, like, because I always believed in myself as well, like, and hopefully that rubbed off on the lads I played with, like, and I always had great belief in myself. Might not have been as talented as some, but I had a great belief in myself as a player and as a person. Like.
President of Ireland, President of Commonwealth Glasgow, clergy, and the people of Donegal, we have done it!
by thanking our team members, Mickey Lafferty, Niall McCall, Seamus Bonner and Anthony Harton.
I suppose we gathered, a few months ago. We decided we'd do something different, something special. It's 25 years of probably the most momentous occasion in our sporting life. So in fairness, Tony and a lot of boys, and we gathered and we got Maganaki involved and Philip McGlynn and McGee's, of course. We'll make the most of it. We'll do our best to enjoy it.
Yeah. Tony, listen, some of these boys had been around for a while, going back into the late 80s and Ulster finals and that. You were a young man coming on the scene, coming in at a golden age really in Donegal football.
Yeah, I probably didn't realise it at the time, Charlie. I came in 1990 and won 3 games, won an Ulster title, made my debut in the All-Ireland semi-final against Meath, and then 2 years later to win an All-Ireland. It was fantastic. I probably took it a wee bit for granted because the likes of Malloy and Reid and them boys had been there soldiering for 10 years previous to that, and I thought, this is great, this is what it's going to be like every year. But obviously after that, we had a barren spell, but this made great times and great memories 25 years ago.
Appreciation for the All-Ireland champions of 1992.
These 92 boys are never going to be forgotten in Donegal, no matter how much time passes.
I'm delighted to be still the chairman of the board for this 25th anniversary celebrations. The 1992 team, of course, they're historic, but they just brought so much to the county. Probably, I think Anthony summed it up himself when he said there wasn't a lot of faith in that team at that time, but they got it together that year, and to win our first All-Ireland was just incredible, and it's bringing back so many good memories for people. And some of the people that have come here today would have enjoyed that so much. They would have soldiered watching Donegal for 20, 30, 40 years before that, and 92 was special for them, and it's great to see them back here today.
Just there were a great crop of players, and there was natural talent there as well. And of course, down looking at the management of the team, when you have someone like McAniff in charge, you're going to have you have the right man there, and you have good mentors, and the team worked hard. We had a few losses before we started to win them, and then it kind of flowed from there. But a great group of players.
It is wonderful to get together like this, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what's wrong. We didn't get together half often enough, and that's what's wrong, and we should, because there's lads there we wouldn't have seen for years. You just lost contact with them, and this will bring them together now for a few months, hopefully.
That's the important thing about this, Barry, because it's going to stretch between now and October on different dates and different days, and it's going to give the lads a great opportunity to reconnect.
It is, when you say reconnect, and Martin's right, we don't meet often enough, unfortunately, for various reasons, but it was no sooner are we back in the one place, like in McGee's here today in Donegal town, and it's just like we were never away. The old banter is back again, and the bit of sledging is going on, and it's something I don't think that you ever lose, and it's great to see.
So the final word, manager, make the best of the next 4 or 5 months, because it's going to be a long time before there's a celebration again.
Well, whatever these boys celebrate in the next 25, I won't be around in the next 25, Charlie.
I wonder how many of us will, Brian.
Well, I'll do the best I can, that's all I can say.
The camaraderie in this squad was always so evident, and it hasn't been lost 25 years on.
No, it's still the same when we meet up. The boys think they can sing, still think they can sing, and Reid's still telling the same jokes as he always told. But no, it's great. There always has been a great camaraderie. Now, we killed each other on the field when we played against each other, but there's a great camaraderie. You don't win all irons without that spirit.
Yeah,
and a lot of it came through from the 82 under 21s and 87 under 21s, and we came in after that then, and just there's a great spirit there, and that's one of the reasons that we won All Ireland.
Yeah.
Just put into perspective for us how you felt back 25 years ago when you realised you weren't going to be able to play.
Well, I kind of figured it out from the the Thursday when I got the knock that I was going to struggle a wee bit, but I still held out hope that I would be fit to play. And Saturday I went for physio, and I kind of figured after Saturday that I was going to be in big bother. And we got a surgeon by the name of Tim O'Brien, and he spoke to me on the Saturday, and he came in on the Sunday morning and gave me injections to try and get me through the game. But injections didn't work, and it was just, what do you call it, just the worst of cruelest luck that could befall anybody on the morning of an All-Ireland, to have to pull out on your first All-Ireland. It was just, to this day, I still think about it.
Yeah. And listen, I remember my reaction when I heard it, Martin, 25 years ago was, no, Martin Shovlin doesn't get injured. He doesn't miss games because of injury, because you were the tough guy, you were the guy that went out, done the business, got on with it, never missed a game. And for this to happen on the biggest day of your career, it's terrible.
It was, but I don't normally, as you say, get injured, or not serious injuries.
Yeah.
But isn't it funny, the last All-Ireland we won as well in '82, the same thing happened to me.
Yeah.
I missed out on the first round. I fell off a telegraph pole.
Yeah.
And injured my ankle, and just didn't get my place back. So that was bad luck.
Yeah.
And for it to happen twice was just unbelievable, to be honest with you.
And watching the game that day, Martin, can you remember?
As I said in the book, it was a blur. It was just, I was watching it, but I wasn't seeing it. Yeah. That's all you could say about it, Charlie. It was, thinking about what maybe you could have done out on the field, how would you have played, things like that.
Yeah. And I suppose to put it in perspective, people are often asked after a long career in sport, what was your biggest disappointment? And some people have difficulty actually deciding what theirs was. No doubt about what yours was.
Oh, there's no question about it. That has been the biggest disappointment I've ever had, and remains so.
I think the signs were there from the Thursday on that Martin was going to be struggling, and probably give me a chance maybe to get my head around the fact that there was a possibility that I may be playing. Looking back now, I suppose any one of a number of subs could have been in and done the same job. But no, I was ready for that occasion anyway. I wasn't really part of the build-up. Obviously the build-up is all about the first 15. So coming into that late stage was actually an advantage, because I wasn't part of the hype beforehand, and I was really focused. And yeah, it was great to get in. As you said, it was massively heartbreaking for Martin, and even to this day, you feel so much pity for a man who was out in an Ireland final. But it was a very selfish environment we were in at that stage. It was every man for himself, and winning the game was the most important thing. Everybody was if you were on the team, you wanted to stay there, and if you were trying to get into the team, you had to do something that was going to catch somebody's eye, no matter what way you done it.
For the first kick out of the second half.
I was probably lucky enough to get in. I hadn't been playing all year, been injured in one thing or another, and then Tommy, who had been super the whole way through, and Ulster, unfortunate against Mayo, the freeze fell at the right time for me to come on, and it's one of those things. And then the final, it's funny thing about the final, it was very open. From the moment the ball was thrown in, it was very open. It was not really the cagey game that we thought. And as Joyce said, you got into position, you were everywhere. You knew that was the biggest hour you were ever going to play, or 70 minutes, and you just done whatever you had to do, And fortunate that the likes of Joyce and JJ, Shove, McGowan, Higgs, them boys, they're supporting you all the time. And when you have the likes, when you play along with Tony and Declan inside, you're going to be sorted.
It was a very relaxed approach for us the whole way through. We were underdogs, but we took a nice low-key approach, and everything went very smooth. The game itself, obviously, I don't think we started great, but it really hinged on the penalty miss. And when the penalty miss went against Dublin, we really, and I think to a man, we got that wee inkling. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is our chance. We better not let the bloody thing slip. So, we started to get our feet, and I particularly didn't have a great first half. I didn't enjoy it, but we really, when we got to half time, we really had that sense in the dressing room. We looked at one another, and we looked one another straight in the face and said, look, this is for real. We can do this. And those memories really, really remain firm. And going out that dressing room door in the second half, we were completely different to we did going out in the first half.
You weren't what you describe as the normal full-back type for that time. Full-backs tended to be big, strong guys, big height, but you didn't fit that category, but you filled the position very comfortably. Why do you think that was?
Well, I learned from Martin Griffin, didn't I? I spent my apprenticeship under Martin Griffin, who obviously would have been ideal for that type of role. No, look, it's I suppose football a lot of times about intelligence as much as anything else, and obviously realising what your capabilities are, and where you're good and where you're not, and what you can and what you can't do, and I think that's what we've done. Obviously also the lads out the pitch, and you mentioned Joyce and the two McHughes in the half forward line, and obviously the lads in the full forward line. Once we lost the ball, like people think now, oh, it's a new phenomenon for defenders to dispossess forwards to dispossess defenders, but it's not. Like, we were doing it. You know, our idea was to try and win the ball back as quickly as possible, and obviously, you know, Brian and being the more mobile of the midfielders spent a lot of time coming back in, and Rambo, and, you know, like coming in to close off the space so that we didn't give them a lot of space. Obviously, he was targeted for the kick, for the long free kicks, which Keith Barr usually hit from the ground. They placed it and he hit it, and we had targeted that, like, you know, and we just got as many bodies as we could around him where possible.
Having Declan a left-footed player on one side, me on the other side with right-footed, I mean, I think we complemented each other well. The fact that we got on well, good enough off the field. In fairness, most of the lads did, you know. But the contribution of everybody. I mean, people talk about squads. I mean, I think I'd done a piece earlier in this year about the squad. I mean, when you were in a training session and maybe Mark Crossan marking you, and Mark Crossan's 21 at the time, he's mad keen to play. Like, he's giving you hell. Like, so if you want to play or if you want to be part of any team, you have to lift your game. And I mean, you had the likes of Mark, you know, Jim McGuinness hammering you, Paul Callahan, three young lads hammering you, trying to get into the team all the time, and they came with an attitude, well, I deserve to be here, I deserve to play, and that lifted, I suppose, the commitment levels, the attitude of everybody, from the youngest to the oldest. That lifted everybody, and you know, that was a good thing. But I mean, it was a privilege and honour to be part of it. It was a privilege and honour to play with all those lads that I played with all those years, and it was also to play against them at club level, which shouldn't be forgotten. It was, you know, it was always a battle, and that's what we remember, you know. I'd have to say that playing along with Tony and Declan was unique, and I mean, the great story is that McAniff decided to put us all into the same bedrooms the night before the All-Ireland, so whatever line you were in the team, you got to share. I got to share with Tony Boyd and Declan Bonner. You know, a mad decision to put three Ross's men in the one room.
Already spoken to Manus, Boyd, and I haven't heard the interview, but according to reports, he's taken most of the credit for what happened that day, because of course he scored 9 points out of 18. Where do you stand on that one, Declan?
Tony, I might leave that one with you, Tony, because you know, at least I made a contribution of 4. Hey, but now listen, Manus had a good final, no doubt about that, and he's not afraid to talk about it. Scoring 9 points. It's probably the one day he did score 9 points for Donegal, but what a day to get it, All-Ireland final, and it was a great return, to be quite honest.
They say when you get older, life flies, you know. But it's hard to believe that it is 25 years, and they're hard to win these things, aren't they? You know, we've only won 2 in 25 years, and of course, I have to say I'm lucky. One of the luckiest men alive that was there on the day, and that was a part of a great team, and that was captain also of that great team, Charlie. You know.
We always believed in ourselves. That was the one thing in our team, that we had a good crop of players. As you said there, we won 2 All-Ireland on the 21s prior to that there, and all those fellas, you know, coming through, and there was a lot of experience there and a lot of good footballers, and we knew that we could pit ourselves with the best, so we could, and that's why we succeeded. And it's a pity, you know, we left 1 or 2 behind us, like, but at the end of the day, you can't be greedy, and we're very, very happy to win an All-Ireland and 2 Ulsters, like, you know, and it would have been nice to win a league. We were in 3 league finals as well, and it would have been nice to win one of them. Yeah. But it was a great time, no more than now, like, over the last few years. It's fantastic, like, you know.
I know that I'll never ever do anything better in my lifetime anyway. It was one of the best days of my life, and you know, I mind, you know, prior to that, and watching other captains going up the Hogan stand, like, and all that went with it, like, and here's I all of a sudden in the same position, like, and it's a very privileged position, like, and looking back, you know, 25 years, and All-Irelands are hard to win, as we all know, like, and you know, very, very few people have that privilege.
This is my homeland, the place I was born in. No matter where I roam, it's in my soul. My feet may wander 1,000 places, but my heart will lead me back home to my Donegal.
And the people of Donegal, we have done it!